Just for everyone in the that's watching today, my name's Andrew Kane, and I'm the entry-level program coordinator at the European Space Agency. So in essence, what my presentation will focus on is my role, which is as the entry-level program coordinator. So I'm responsible for the interns, for the young graduate trainees, the national trainees, the research fellow postdocs, and the junior professional program here at ESA. So just a very quick overview for those of you who don't know. I won't go into too much detail because I think that we have quite a well-educated audience vis-a-vis ESA. But quick overview, we're 22 member states with around 2,500 permanent staff members. And why do we exist? Well, we're Europe's gateway to space, and in essence, what sets us apart from some of the other space agencies is that we are using space for exclusively peaceful purposes and for exploration. And we're quite unique in the sense that we're a collaboration, an intergovernmental organization of many different member states. Where are we located? So I'm based in Estec in the Netherlands, but our sites are all across Europe and even beyond, as I will explain very shortly on another slide, but we're essentially dotted all over continental Europe. And how much it costs to run the European Space Agency? We have a big headline figure of almost 7 billion, but when you break it down, it comes to about 12 euros per European per year. I was recently in Switzerland doing this presentation, and I usually would say that it costs about the price of a cinema ticket, but maybe in Switzerland it only gets you the popcorn. I'm not so sure in Estonia how much the cinema is, but 12 euros is still pretty decent, I think.
Yeah, about same price. Yeah.
Oh, okay, same price. Well, there you go. Not so bad. So what does ESA do? Again, just a very quick overview. And indeed, all of this is possible thanks to the collaboration of the member states. And you see all of the flags at the bottom, in addition to our associate member states, Latvia, Lithuania, Slovenia, Slovakia, and Canada even as a cooperating state. So ESA is active across every area of the space sector. We're really spread incredibly wide, but we are particularly world leading when it comes to science and technology, and I would highlight the Earth observation department in particular when it comes to that. But we have over 80 satellites that have been developed, tested, and operated since 1975 when the agency was founded. And we've had well over 200 launches from Europe's spaceport in French Guiana in Kourou. And very soon, hopefully, we'll be having more launches from the spaceport with the new Ariane 6 launcher. So I touched on it briefly before about where we're located. So if you came to join us for a career at ESA, these are the places where you would be. So I just mentioned Europe's spaceport, which you see just on the bottom of the slide, which is down in South America. But really, the vast majority of our jobs are in continental Europe. So I previously was based at headquarters, which is in Paris. It's where more of the political and the legal side of the agency is based. But our main site is in what we call Estec, which is the European Space Technology, European Space Research and Technology Center, which is not too far from Amsterdam and The Hague, somewhere in between in a place called Noordwijk. We have thousands of colleagues on site at Estec. It's a really great place to work, I have to say. It's a really big campus family feel, and that's in the Netherlands. But we have the European Astronaut Center and the European Space Operations Center, both in Germany. We also have our Earth observation and IT hub down in Frascati, just outside Rome, in what we call Ezrin. We have our science center just outside of Madrid called ESAC. In Exat, which is not so far from Oxford in the UK. We have Harwell Center, which is focusing mainly on commercialization, but also on telecommunications and partnerships with space activities. And then finally, we have a very small but growing site in Belgium in a place called Redu that we call EZEC. And this is where our education center and our space security and cybersecurity operations tend to be based. And as well as that, we even have a few opportunities for entry-level people in Washington, DC, Vienna, and Brussels, but they're more offices rather than full establishments. So the main reason I'm talking today is about these entry-level and research programs. At ESA, we're definitely having jobs for more senior people available, with hundreds being published every year right now, because we're going through a big recruitment wave as a result of lots of our colleagues beginning their well-earned and well-deserved retirement. But I'll focus on these programs that you see on the screen right now, and I'll go through them one by one with a little bit of information on each. So first, the ESA internship. So this is a 3 to 6 month placement, as you can see there, and it's really for those people trying to get their very first experience in space. And the key criteria for the internship is that it's for students. You have to be currently enrolled as a student during the internship. So the typical profile of a student is usually a final year or first year master's student, but we indeed are open to having bachelor students as well. If you can beat the competition for these places, we're more than happy to have you. And it's even the same for PhDs, but I would say the main focus is for those doing a master's degree. These internships are based at all of the establishments that I showed on the previous slide with the map. It's based in all of our different areas of the business as well. And the key is you're getting some early hands-on experience, even if it's only for a short period. I would highlight that, unfortunately, for the purposes of this presentation, the campaign for this year actually just recently closed because we run from the 1st of November until the end every year. However, there will be a couple of positions that we republish in December and January that for various reasons, but I would highlight that there'll probably be about 10 to 15 that will republish. But usually every year we have over 200 internship positions, interns who join us at ESA. So really it's quite a broad program that you can do. And for the young graduate trainee, this is maybe much more relevant because this is about to happen soon. So this is a program close to my heart because I myself was a young graduate trainee at ESA in headquarters. And you can think of this kind of as a bit of a graduate program that you might see in other areas, but it's limited for 1 year, but most of our YGTs do take the second year optional extension. This is the case that I did when I was a YGT. So it's 2 years. It's a fully paid staff position at ESA for these 2 years. So it's an excellent, we have excellent conditions and we're very competitive. I can say myself, I'd even in the past worked in investment banking in the UK, and the young graduate trainee positions at ESA are very much competitive with the salary conditions that might be offered somewhere like in finance. But on top of that, it's actually, in my opinion, a much more satisfying kind of work that you're going to be doing, because very similar to the internships, it's hands-on experience for the young graduates. But because you're there for 1 to 2 years, you've got much more opportunity to really learn from some of our colleagues and get real hands-on experience with the world-class facilities and laboratories that we have. And I'd say that, I mean, for example, we have a thing called Young Professional Satellite, YPSAT, which is this project run by all of the entry-level people at ESA and anyone that is part of an organization called Young ESA. And they got given quite a large budget to build their own payload, which will actually fly on the first Ariane 6, the maiden flight, hopefully this year, as expected. And yeah, with that, you had all these young graduates basically running it, and they were able to have hands-on experience with the tutorship of experts, separate extracurricular to their main main work. So if you become a young graduate trainee and you're here for 1 to 2 years, you really have a lot of chance to get fully immersed in all aspects of the space industry, not just the ones to the positions that you would apply to. But the key here is that because it's a full-time job, it's not for students. It's for those who will have graduated by the time that the position starts. So indeed, you can apply if you're in the final year of your master's degree, but there is a requirement for a master's degree upon take-up duty at YGT level. So if you've got between 0 and 1 year of experience after your master's degree, this is the program for you. We don't want to advertise it as something where you have to have it's an entry-level position, but you have to have years and years of experience. It's really for those of you who are at the very end of your studies, who have maybe just finished your study, or maybe you went away for a year and did some traveling, but you haven't had the chance to get some hands-on work experience in the space sector yet. This is the program for you. Same criteria for the internship program. You have to be a citizen of one of the flags you see at the bottom. So one of our member states, the associate members, or Canada as a cooperating state, but we even have the European cooperating states too. So Bulgaria, Croatia, and Cyprus as well. But the key for this one, what I want to highlight, is they will open in February. So the 1st of February until I think it's the 29th in 2024. I think we have a leap year. So you have an extra day to apply even. We publish over 100 opportunities every year. And much like the internships, you can only apply through jobs.esa.int. Because we are a taxpayer-funded organization, and in the interest of equality of opportunity, transparency and fairness, everything goes through our jobs portal. So you can't just send an email to myself if you're listening today for your application. You really have to apply through the standardized portal. But I would say if any Estonians are thinking of applying to this, I'm sure you can get in touch with Elise, who can get in touch with me as well, because I'm more than happy to try and help give advice on how to improve your application with your CV or your cover letter for students from Estonia, because we are trying to increase the representation of Estonian colleagues in the entry-level community. So yes, that would be advisable. This is quite interesting for Estonia, I would say. It's the national trainee program. Think of it as the young graduate trainee program. So for those who are just about to finish their masters or have quite limited post-master's degree experience. But the difference here is that you have to be a citizen from one of the countries listed on this slide, because you're not necessarily directly employed by ESA, but we have a relationship with the countries you see there that we agree to host trainees from these countries, and the mechanism for how they're employed or how they're paid differs by country. But I just want to flag that Estonia, we do have some national trainees who are working at ESA right now at a few of our establishments, and this is an additional option you have to apply and get into ESA and have some work experience. So you're quite lucky being from Estonia, one of the few countries that has this kind of second opportunity, second track for you to join ESA. But the key here is Elise and the team are the ones who are actually helping to organize the call and source candidates. So if you have any questions specifically about the Estonian National Trainee Program, she might be able to help in addition to myself. Yeah, this is the Research Fellowship Program, which you might want to think of as basically a postdoc, because the criteria that we have for research fellowship position is that you have to have recently attained your doctorate, so your PhD. They're usually in the more scientific fields, but not always. But this is mainly because the difference between this and a young graduate trainee position is you're there to do research, as the name suggests. And therefore, the contract duration is a bit longer. It's a 2-year contract with the possibility to extend to a 3rd year. which most of our research fellows do. So they're there for 3 years to do research on something related to space. And the benefit of this program that you might not get in some academic institutions, for example, is that you really have access to the world-class facilities and laboratories and technology that we have on site. That's really the differentiating factor, as well as sitting next to and working with colleagues who are experts in their field and can really help you when it comes to the cutting edge side. But I would say on the other side, there is a symbiotic relationship, because research fellows really can provide new and innovative and outside techniques and ideas that are not currently in the European Space Agency. So teams are always very willing to take on a research fellow if they have an interesting idea. The key here, though, is it's not an organized campaign like the previous programs. It's really the opportunities are published throughout the year, depending on the need within each directorate. The one exception to that is science, where they have their own dedicated campaign where they try and recruit all of the research fellows at once. But we have about 80 positions every year for postdocs. So I would really encourage you to set up a job alert if you are interested in doing a postdoc at jobs.esa.int, because they will come out in a steady flow throughout the year. And what I would highlight for the research fellows in particular is you never know from just the job title what the research fellowship could entail. So if you have a click into it, you might find actually you have the relevant skills that could be useful and might have an interest in the kind of topic that the team want researching. So because there's only 80 of them, and because they're published throughout the year, if you see one on jobs.esa.int, I encourage you to click on it, because you never know, it might be a postdoc for you. And again, the exact same citizenship criteria as the young graduate trainee program. Very finally, this is maybe quite relevant because we're about to head into 2024 when we have the next foreseen publication of the junior professional program. So this is the newest entry-level program at ESA. Let's say right now we were doing a trial since 2021, where we have at the moment just 30 junior professionals where they join on an initial 3-year ESA contract. And then at the end of it, if all goes well, they will be converted to become a full-time permanent staff member at the end of the program. But the interesting part of the program that's different from just applying to any kind of staff position is that there's a real focus on training and development. So they have a lot more training opportunities than a regular staff like myself. And on top of that, they get this really cool internal rotation or external secondment aspect to the program. So, for example, we have some people who are going 6 months out in industry to see if they can learn something that they can then bring back to ESA for later in their career. We also have people who are based in ESTEC in the Netherlands at ESA, but are going to do 6 months down in Paris, working at headquarters, or over in Esren in Frascati in Rome, in Italy, sorry. So you have this kind of chance for mobility, which is really cool, I think. And the feedback so far from those who are partaking is very positive. So I'd say there's a pretty good chance that this trial of the program will be renewed, and the foreseen publication date would be November 2024. So I would say if you've got between 2-3 years of experience after your master's degree, this could be the program for you. It's maybe for those who were previous YGTs that those 2 years could count, or maybe you had a couple of years of experience. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the space field, because a lot of these roles are actually going to be in more innovative and new areas for ESA. So for example, if you have some AI or machine learning or data science competencies, these are not entirely prevalent at ESA. So we're very open to having people from different industries apply to these kind of roles in this specific program. That's where we can see some of the real value add. But they'll basically be spread across the entirety of the ESA work that we do. So they'll be in commercialization, they'll be in the technical directorate, they'll be in human robotic exploration, Earth observation. It's really a broad program. And again, jobs.esa.int, you have to apply through the website. One thing that it's not strictly an entry-level program, but I just want to flag is something we call ESA's co-funded research. And this is if you're currently studying a PhD or thinking of studying a PhD, or even a postdoc, much like the research fellow. But the essence here is we offer up to 50% of the funding of your PhD or postdoc, up to a level of 90,000 euro. And so in this case, it's not that you're necessarily employed by ESA, but you do get access to the aforementioned world-class laboratories and facilities and technologies, as well as that technical support by the experts here at ESA. And on top of that, the networking opportunities, not just at ESA, if there was a potential prospect for you to come work with us afterwards, but also with the industrial partners and our other partners, partner institutions around the world. You really get a chance to build some kind of different networks than you would ordinarily be able to do, I think, if you were just in academia. And these are very much open all year long because you have to make the proposal, actually. So it's a bit different from the other ones. You don't apply at jobs.esa.int, but at ideas.esa.int. So the idea is if you do have some kind of research that you think might be a bit different and of interest to ESA, you'd be able to submit your proposal on that website, and we would evaluate it on a case-by-case basis. And we do have some dedicated funding for that. So if this is one of the research avenues that anyone in the audience is interested in, this could be for you. And finally, not at all an entry-level program, but I still want to flag it up. It's the ESA Academy. So this is run by my colleagues in the education team at ESA. But this is really still applicable, I think, to the same population, because if you're studying a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD degree, you're eligible to apply to the programs at the ESA Academy, and you get some real hands-on experience here. Often they are at our training center in Redu in Belgium, at ESEC, where we will arrange for you to come and participate. Sometimes the trainings last for 1 to 2 weeks. When you're there, and all of the courses and activities are fully sponsored by ESA. But if you go on that website that's linked at the bottom for the ESA Academy, you'll also see that they're involved in summer schools as well, and other kind of projects beyond just these 1 to 2 weeks of training at our training center in Belgium. So the kind of experiments or activities you could be doing could be, for example, ranging on small satellites, or maybe some nanosats, CubeSats, and then also on the science and technology side too. So again, quite broad in terms of the people who are eligible to apply. But once again, as long as you're from one of the eligible countries that are listed on our website, and the majority of the flags are there, you can apply. And these opportunities open throughout the year. So really another opportunity to check out the website and see what's live right now, because I know there's a few opportunities there at the moment. This is also on the website, but maybe just for you to visualize very quickly which entry-level program might be for you. We've done this kind of pathway chart. What you'll see is that I'd say there's a pathway that you could follow. You could start at the ESA Academy, get some training experience, and then do an internship at ESA whilst you're still a student. After you're a student, you could apply to be a young graduate trainee or a national trainee, or if it's a PhD level, a research fellow. And then you have the opportunity to either join the junior professional program afterwards and apply to that, or go straight to the staff position, which is for those with tends to be for those with at least 3 years of experience. But you can basically follow this and find the exact program for you at the relevant time. So I don't know if anyone's screenshotting. There's not necessarily the case that you have to. It's online, but I'll just leave that there for a few seconds in case anyone wants to. Okay. So what exactly would you be doing if you came to join us at ESA on an entry-level program? So I won't list them all, but you will see there that the engineering disciplines we have. I would say the engineering side of ESA is the heart of who we are, what we do as an agency. Most of these positions will be based in the Netherlands at ESTEC, where we have all the majority of our facilities and laboratories. But yeah, I mean, mechanical, electrical system, it's all there. This is, I'd say, the majority of what we do at ESA. So the chances are, is if you have some kind of background in engineering or even a generic scientific discipline or technical discipline, some of these positions could be for you. Specifically on the science side, yeah, it's worth mentioning. It's not as big as the engineering, but it's of course a very important part of what we do at the agency. So here you have the chance to work on your applied mathematics, your Earth observation and environmental science, material science, and life sciences, planetary and space science as well, which is mainly based, I would say, down in Madrid, the planetary and space science, but not entirely. But here, this is probably where you'll get exposure to some of the more high-profile, cool missions that we have going on at ESA, the ones that tend to have a very multi-year lifespan. So it's really an opportunity, if you joined, to contribute, even if it's only in a small way, to these sometimes decades-long projects and programs and missions. So it's really motivating, in my opinion, to do that. And not forgetting that we do need about 10 to 15% of the people at ESA are not scientists or engineers, but they're on the business and administration side, like myself. So we need HR people, we need legal people, finance people, diplomats, politicians, comms, PR, commercialization, business, strategy. The agency wouldn't run if we didn't have this, even though it's a very small part of what we do. Every year we will publish many positions in the entry-level programs across all of the topic areas that you see there. Yeah, so what we're looking for. So in essence, I did mention for the internship that bachelors are eligible too, but really I would say masters and PhD is the main level of education for the entry-level programs. And then beyond that, yeah, I would highlight you need to have a multicultural attitude to work at ESA. You'll see at the bottom all the different flags we have there. We are an international organization and our colleagues are from everywhere. I think it's one of the best parts about working at ESA. So being open-minded is excellent when it comes to multiculturalism. But I would say on the language side, it's true we have 2 official languages, English and French. But the majority working language at ESA, vast majority is English. And myself, I'm from the UK, but I am from the north of England, so my English isn't that good. I'm sure it's better in Estonia than me. So if I can work here, even you can for sure. And then beyond that, passion, enthusiasm, professional curiosity, space is cool. It doesn't take much to trigger these 3 things. But I would say just being open-minded. You don't necessarily have to have a lifelong passion or curiosity about space since you were a young kid, but it's just being open-minded to developing that passion and enthusiasm once you join us. And then indeed the relevant experience based on the program that you apply to, as I've already mentioned. But team spirit, it's kind of a generic quality I think a lot of companies look for. a lot of organizations look for. But ESA, it's a bit different. You know, when you are in the space industry, team spirit really does mean something, because we're working together for, let's say, a higher mission or higher purpose often. When you're at, for example, if you're working on the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer mission, it takes many decades to do, to see the results come to fruition of this. You have to have a team spirit and work in a collaborative environment to partake in that. And a bit linked to that, I'd say a diverse pool of talent. We're increasingly trying to make ESA a more diverse and inclusive place to work. I would say amongst the entry-level population in particular, we have an excellent gender balance. So particularly want to encourage young Estonian women to be applying to one of our entry-level programs, because as I mentioned, we're going through this big recruitment wave as a result of colleagues retiring. We have a real chance to really change the long-term footprint of diversity when it comes to the agency. So I think it is going to get, there's going to be more visibility for colleagues with a disability or from different identities and cultural backgrounds, as well as having more women in the science and engineering fields as well. So if you are a young Estonian woman, we particularly encourage you to apply, but really we don't at all exclude male colleagues from applying either. We're really trying to be a diverse organization. And then very finally, just what we offer at ESA. I mentioned already the multicultural environment, and that's one of the best things on the competitive and attractive salary conditions. This is especially true for the research fellowship, YGT, and junior professional positions, because they are full staff positions, even if for a limited period. But they really are competitive, and because we're an international organization, you can kind of consider your salary, the number you see on your payslip, almost net of the internal taxes we have at ESA. So it is extremely generous. But beyond the financial side, I really want to highlight also the active social, sports, and cultural programs. For example, if you're at ESTEC, there's a golf course, there's a beach, there's a swimming pool, there's a bar, there's a football field. There's more than just work, and it's really nice to be able to do that with the thousands of colleagues that we have there. And there's a society or a club for almost anything you can imagine. So there's something for everyone when it comes to that. But then very much on the training side, let's say, of the traineeship, you have these inspiring projects and activities that you can get involved with and learn and develop your own professional expertise with. It's quite a unique opportunity to be able to work at ESA, even if it's only for 6 months as an intern or 2 years as a YGT. You really are not going to get anything like this anywhere else, I don't believe. So yeah, you really should consider applying. Very finally, this again, a lot of generic words that you will see in lots of HR websites and presentations from different companies, but I do think they mean something here, even if it's a bit corny. It's a nice little summary in a rocket shape of the words that I always associate with our entry-level population. They really are curious. They have great values. They're creative. They take risks. They're passionate. They be themselves. It's an excellent place to work at ESA, and if you see any of the words there that you feel relate to you, I would consider applying. So indeed, if you are going to apply, jobs.esa.int is where all of our positions are posted. But you can also get more generic information about careers at the website too. So thanks for the presentation, for listening to the presentation. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Andrew. I think there's one question in the chat about remote working.
Okay.
Very briefly, we're running out of time, but very briefly.
Sure. Very quickly, we do have remote working opportunities, the teleworking that we say, and we even have 9 days per month that you can do from outside of the country. So indeed, working from home is a possibility, but we want you to be on site as a young entry-level person to try and learn as much as possible. But yeah, we do offer the opportunity for up to 9 days a month home working outside of the country you're based, in addition to the teleworking you could do in your home in the country too.